I am not teaching, I am publicly learning. Hi and welcome to Learning for the Life in UK test, part 623, while doing a leg injury prevention training. And if you participate in the leg injury prevention training in the second half of the video, that is the honors. In the last video we made a presentation about the Northern Ireland Parliament and Northern Ireland Assembly, and we recorded that on a second camera, and we're going to publish that presentation in a separate video. Now we want a singular video just for the Northern Ireland Parliament. We're going to explain basically the same, but a little bit different. The information are that there was a growing sense of nationalism in the 19th century, and when the Home Rule Bill proposed in 1913, that was then postponed and by Protestant people of Northern Ireland rejected. It was opposed by the Protestants in the north of Ireland, who threatened to resist the force, and when the First World War broke out, some people didn't want to wait that long for the postponing. 1916, the Easter Uprising, then defeated, executed the leaders of it. Guerrilla War, 1921, the Peace Treaty, 1922, Ireland, two countries, the 6 counties in the north, Protestantistic, Northern Ireland, the other ones, Irish Free State, 49, Republic of Ireland. And then, the 1922, the Northern Ireland Parliament was established. I mixed it up the last time, Parliament and Assembly. In 22, but then it was that there was disagreement. Some people like they have the name maybe at the beginning. Some people like the Fenians wanted complete independence, others home rule like Charles Stuart Parnell. And when the trouble started, some people wanted that whole Ireland becomes independent from the United Kingdom. Together with the North, other people wanted to rather stay in the United Kingdom. And when we followed the troubles following 1969, with over 3,000 people dying, and the Northern Ireland Parliament was suspended. And when John Major was Prime Minister in the 90s, a peace process was established, or did he just participate in it? And helped establish. And then was Tony Blair, and then 98 the Good Friday Agreement was made, and then also during this time the other devolved administrations were established. For example, the Senate, 99, and the Scottish Parliament, 99 in Edinburgh, and the Northern Ireland Assembly then also during that time, also elected 1999. It wasn't suspended again in 2002, but then reinstated. Reinstated is it here? I don't know what the name really means. Reinstated. I get it from the Latin syllables. Reinstated. Back into the place. Put back into the place until 2007. When it was 2007 was reinstated. It was not reinstated until 2007. And the paramilitary groups have decommissioned their arms and are inactive. And there is now the Northern Ireland Assembly, and they are having 90 MLAs, members of Legislative Assembly, and they use a form of proportional representation. The ministerial offices are shared between political parties, and they can do in education, agriculture, environment, health and social services. And that it is. Okay, let's start to do it. I'm going to start the same camera. And let's try to do it. The Northern Ireland Assembly. The Northern Ireland Assembly existed between 1922 and 1972. Today there exists the Northern Ireland. Did I say Assembly? The Northern Ireland Parliament. The Northern Ireland Parliament existed from 1922 until 1972 for 50 years. Today exists the Northern Ireland Assembly. In the 19th century, there was a growing sense of nationalism in Ireland. And then in 1913, there was a Home Rule Bill introduced in the UK Parliament. So it was so that there were some people who wanted complete independence from the United Kingdom, for example, the Fenians, and there were people like Charles Thomas Parnell who wanted Home Rule. That would mean, and what was when introduced in 1913 in the UK Parliament, that Ireland stays a part of the United Kingdom, but it governs itself. And this Home Rule Bill then was brought into Parliament in 1913, but then rejected. It was postponed, the changes after the First World War, which then broke out in 1913. But during the Second World War, while it lasted, in 1916 there was the Easter Uprising, against the British rule in Northern Ireland. In Dublin was it. The uprising was defeated, and under military law, the leaders of the Easter Uprising 1916 executed. Then followed a guerrilla war against the British Army and the British police in Northern Ireland. When in 1921, a peace treaty was signed, and when in 1922, Ireland was separated. The northern 6 counties became to be Northern Ireland, and the other ones the Irish Free State. In 1949, that became the Republic of Ireland. And then in 1922, when this peace treaty was done, where the Northern Ireland Parliament was founded, and that one was there for 50 years until 1972. Now, when it happened that in 1969 and the decades following, the Troubles went on. The Troubles were about that there was disagreement. Some people wanted that the whole of Ireland, full Irish independence, was independent of the United Kingdom. Other people rather wanted to stay in the United Kingdom. And in these Troubles, in these decades after 1969, 3,000 people lost their lives. Now, in this Northern Ireland Parliament, which was then established by the Peace Treaty 1922, was then 1972 suspended. When in the 90s, John Major was the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, and he helped to establish a peace process. When Tony Blair got Prime Minister at the end of the 90s, and when Tony Blair, during his premiership, during the time that he was Prime Minister, the Good Friday Agreement was done in 1998. And with that, more peace came into the country. And while Tony Blair was Prime Minister, both administrations were made. In Wales, the Senate was established, or then known under the Welsh Assembly. So the Senate in Wales, or the Scottish Parliament in Edinburgh, in Scotland, and then also in Northern Ireland, the Northern Ireland Assembly. And these 3 devolved administrations have power to rule in some areas. They can't rule in defense, in social security, or in foreign affairs, but they can rule in education and health. Now, and then, following the Good Friday Agreement of 1998, there was then in 1999, for the first time, the Northern Ireland Assembly elected. And the people in that they are elected under proportional representation. And how the minister departments are made, that this is on an agreement with the political parties have all the right to it, for some of them. And they can do politics in education and agriculture, in the environment, or in health and social services. So, from 1922 until 1972, there was the Northern Ireland Parliament, following the Peace Treaty of 1922, then established after the Troubles broke out in 1969, and then suspended in 1972. And today, since 1999, there is the Northern Ireland Assembly. It was suspended from 2002 until 2007, but that is there. And that is according to the Life in UK Test Handbook, page 160. And several other ones. I'm not so sure if the ending was so good, but we're talking about the Northern Ireland Parliament. Yes, it's perfectly for the Northern Ireland Parliament. It's not so good for an overall thing. At the end to say, and for 5 years it didn't exist. That's not so, that's the end, so yes, and was with all. What did we just heard? Is it now? Is it not? But it was about the Northern Ireland Parliament. We're having another try. We're going to do in the next video one about the Northern Ireland Assembly. I'm going to stop the camera. A second one. If you're here for the Northern Ireland Assembly, then we're going to do the same presentation, basically the same, maybe a little bit different formulated for the Northern Ireland Assembly. You can go directly to the next video where we're going to do that. We will do now the leg injury prevention training. If you participate in the leg injury prevention training, that is at your own risk. We're starting with the warm-up. We're doing the greeting mushroom. We're bringing one leg up, and then bringing a foot up and down, up and down, up and down. Now the other one, up and down. And the trunk ignite. Our legs are standing wide apart, and we're breathing in and out down. And out. Again. Out. Again in. Out. Again in. Out. And the last round, breathe in. And out. Breathe in, close the legs. To the first exercise. We're having a good standing leg. The other legs with flex foot in the air, and we're swinging it in front to the side. The front and to the side. The Northern Ireland Assembly will be the next thing. Are we then through with what we had here? I still don't know if we made the video to your position, but let's assume we have. The government. We could make one video about the government. The problem is basically one. We still don't really understand what the government is. We think so far that it is the Prime Minister, together ruling with the Cabinet. And then opposed by the opposition, and the shadow cabinet, and that all is more or less organized in the party system. And what they decide is then put into effect through the civil service. But there are also some local governments, and then we could include that. We haven't made a video about it, we have changed the leg, because that wasn't really enough, but it would be enough. And our next exercise, the flex foot comes in front and back. Local government would be enough to include it when talking about the government. Then we could also talk about the devolved administrations. So the local government and the devolved administrations, and also with the media's covering it all. It would be quite a cool video. Now, if we actually do all what we have here on these 5-6 pages to the government, we're changing the leg, when we don't really have to understand what the government is finally. Because all what we're telling there is part of the government, as they did it, and we never, as they did it, have to say specifically that is the government. So we don't really have to understand it. We can just explain the whole system, like they did it in these 5-6 pages. Now we could then also talk about the elections, the House of Commons and the House of Lords, where it all is happening, and the Speaker. Then we could include the monarch and the national anthem, then we explain the constitutional institutions, and then we're having also the development of the British democracy, and at the end we are explaining completely chapter 6, at least that part of it. If you now include the criminal and the civil law, we could directly go on and make a video about the whole Britain. Next exercise. We're bringing the leg up, and we're having a right angle with the leg and a flexed foot. Even 9 tips, taller with the back, and we're bringing the leg to the outside. We're going to make at least a video about the Northern Ireland Assembly first. Breathe in. Out leg into the middle, and down, and then we're going to look. Maybe one about the government. Again, in, leg up. Out to the side. But I want to include then the elections. Again, in. And then directly the development of British democracy, and down. And the other leg up. And then the constitutional institutions, then the monarch and the national anthem. Out into the middle, and down. And we're having half a book. But why not? Imagine someone that's want to do that video. I basically could do it directly, without any further preparation technically. And then what was the next exercise? We can't do that, as long as I don't know what it is. Yeah, I know it. Leg up, and we're pressing up on the inside against the knee. Riding with the leg, flex foot, even on tips, to left of back, little bend in the elbow. We have it where we could do it in 10-15 minutes probably. Other people would take multiple hours, and we have the information pretty good together, as you would need them. And we're pressing from the other side against here. First, the Northern Ireland Assembly. And next exercise, the leg up, and we're pressing with the knee to the side. Here's the hips, top up of the back, and then he presses up to the side. Yes, we're still thinking a little bit about a video about Britain. Basically, all the book. We don't have to explain it that much in detail. We don't have to go in detail and list some people or so. And we don't have to say at all that every sentence of what is written there. Next exercise, one hand on tummy, one lower back, and lift the leg up with a flexed foot. And if the quad muscles cramping the leg up and point the foot down. Try to bring the leg high. We don't have to say every sentence, but it wouldn't be that much to say. And the other leg. Flex the foot and try to bring the leg higher. Control the hands so that you don't fall back. Try to bring the leg higher. And the next exercise, we are having 3 variations. You can do the stem, leg up and down, and up and down. You can do the horse, foot in and out, foot in and out. Or you do the camel. You have a leg in, you go back, set it out, back and in, and out, back and in. And we're changing the leg. A few more times. And the last two. And now we're doing a closing exercise. Breathe in. Out. And last one, breathe in. Out. We're going to cross the legs. And out. That was some leg and training. I thank you very much, and until next time.